Hi. So today I wanted to talk to people who have either been on a who have either spiritually awakened or have had spontaneous awakenings or through spiritual practices. Um, or sometimes people have awakenings that happened unconsciously. And a lot of times when we have these awakenings, we may end up having some kind of mental health or physical health issues. And what I want to share with you is that sometimes we get lost um, trying to navigate our issues in places that may not meet us, may not meet the special needs that we have. So let me just share a little bit more about, spiritual awakening. So sometimes we have spiritual practices that we do, um, yoga, tai chi, we meditate, we go to different retreats, we may even go to somebody like Amma, um, who is an incredible powerhouse, actually. She's an incredible being and a powerhouse who transmits the truth of who we are to ourselves. And she transmits states of being, our essence to us. She's really full in that way. But there's many actually out there that we may go to receive empowerment, transmissions, to speed up our spiritual awakening journey. Then there are the people who, even I forgot to mention, yoga and going to sound baths, all the things that we do to tune in, to connect with who we are, to relax into ourselves. And then there's the people who have spontaneous kind of, they just awaken one day, that they just feel like, oh, okay, I have to reroute myself because I'm more aligned now. Or they may have many awakenings that they have spontaneously. Then there are people who, they may be, this one, they may have unconsciously awakened. Like they weren't conscious that they were having an awakening. And sometimes we have that multiple times in our lives. So, for example, somebody who is taking care of somebody who is a loved one, they may be able to show up in ways that they notice not people around them aren't able to show up. Or they may experience the loss of someone very close to them. And when they were around that person, they felt like, oh, my life is on target. I'm living my purpose. I'm feeling really open, vulnerable. I feel a lot of love. I want to name that spiritual awakening is not like a bang. It's often we get to be human. Really, being spiritual is about being human, being loving, being vulnerable, being connected, all of those things. So even when we're in a very human place, that might be your spiritual opening, awakening. It could also be something good. When I was 19 years old, I was in a relationship with somebody, I think maybe even younger. I was in a relationship with somebody who was a soulmate. And it was really, I knew that there was a deep connection that I had with this person. And it was really beautiful. And it opened up so much love. It opened up my heart. It opened up my access to my own soul in a lot of ways that I wasn't conscious of at the time. And of course, it brought up a lot of issues for me because so much of me was opening up, and it brought up a lot of issues. But like, what I'm trying to say is that unconsciously, even even a good thing like a relationship can really open us up. So a lot of times when we have this awakening, we may experience potentially a lot of issues that arise. Having an awakening is really beautiful. You know, so many of us, we want to have more fulfillment in our lives. We don't want to live like zombies or disconnected. We want ourselves, our lives. We want to live more enriched. We don't want to be numb. We don't want to be doing things that are harming ourselves or others, really. And sometimes, in a lot of times, it will also bring up, wounds. So, for example, you lost somebody you really were very close to. You might feel a lack of purpose in your life. You might feel lost. You don't, maybe even numb, like it's just darkness around you. You may function fine. You may have friends. You might do your activities, but there's something inside you that's like feeling the lack of fulfillment because you were fulfilled when you were with them. Other times, people that I work with, they'll come in and they'll feel depressed, anxiety, have a lot of anxiety. They may have health issues like chronic fatigue syndrome, for example. And so a lot of times we'll go to places that to get support. And this is the place where I'm trying to see how to communicate this. Because, for example, let me give some examples. So you may be somebody who has been doing a lot of spiritual practices and been exposed to had a lot of openings and awakenings, consciously, unconsciously. Usually it's a mixture of both, from what I've seen, unless somebody is specifically studying this. I would say I've seen a lot of people who have experienced this slightly consciously, more unconsciously. So you may have, for example, your body may be filled with the absolute. You may have access to the vastness of the universe in your body unconsciously. What happens sometimes, if that is the case, the ego can start to freak out. The ego might be not knowing, because it's losing its grasp in the body. Maybe it's losing its identity. The ego will start to freak out and start to become stronger, start to become more resistant. And we might end up feeling like a lot of anxiety, for example. Another example is red. red essence, I just made a video about that recently. So red essence is the energy of vitality and aliveness in the body. And say it spontaneously opened up in my body, or I had a transmission. So I was around Amma, for example, and I started to feel alive in her presence. Okay? Now I go home and I get hit with depletion, exhaustion, collapse, lots of fear. Maybe I'm not comfortable with red energy. Maybe I'll give an example. If my dad was somebody who went into rage pretty easily. He went into rage pretty easily. This is not healthy red. This is unhealthy red. And it scared me. Or my mom, in response to my dad, repressed her red. And I'm really attached to my mom. And so I repress my red. Or maybe I do both. Maybe I repress and I discharge. Repress and I go into rage and act it out. So it's beautiful that I had the opening of this energy of vitality and aliveness. It's beautiful to receive that transmission, but I can't usually bypass that. Now I need to work with my psychological structure that is not comfortable with red. And I might end up going to, for example, I might be going to support to somebody who may not know there's a whole experience between the body, the heart, the mind. So they may not know. So say, for example, I come home and I'm raging from now on, and I go to somebody. I might get coping skills, how to manage my anger, what to do, but I may not get that actually this is in the body. And really, part of it is, how do I cultivate this essence of aliveness, of vitality? How do I cultivate this so that I can have it in a really healthy way? Not to go into fear and collapse or anxiety about it. Another example may be, on when we have these openings, we have everything is stored in our bodies. Everything, in our tissues, in our muscles, in our organs, in our bones. It's in our bodies, all of our experiences. And when essence comes to our bodies, when we start to awaken in our bodies, consciously or unconsciously feeling it, what happens is that for example, I may start to feel terror. I'm giving another example. I may be starting to feel a lot of terror as I go into as things start to open up. So I go and I'm feeling terror, and it has no content. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Well, maybe the terror that's opening up is because I am now feeling my dad's terror when he was a child. And I'm not aware of it because I never knew that he had terror. So a lot of times when we do have some kind of spiritual openings and awakenings, we need to work with them, with the body, with the special kind of understanding and knowledge of what happens when we engage in these practices. If we go to somebody who doesn't have knowledge of these things, they may be able to help us and guide us, but we may not get what we need because they might be working on our ego. And really, our ego has been transforming. We are on a spiritual path, on a spiritual journey. A lot of times, our ego developed in response to loss of who we really are, loss of our essence. And so when we have mental health issues, for example, it's just an example, and this isn't a blanket statement, but when that happens, maybe red essence came in and opened up my fear, opened up my blocks to it, opened up feeling alone as a child, feeling like there wasn't an attachment figure there when I needed them. It might open that up on a way back to reintegrate our essence. I hope this is kind of making sense. So we're transforming our ego structure into who we really are. If we go to somebody who doesn't understand that, they might be trying to upgrade our ego, trying to make our ego better when we're actually on a path that's transforming it. I hope this is making sense. Chronic fatigue, for example. Talking about red essence, sometimes chronic fatigue has to do with lack of red essence. And so if you work with somebody, you might work with somebody who is helping you to get the red essence, but also working on the psychological barriers to having it. So this is what I had to say today. And if you resonate and are interested, I'm sure that there's different modalities, different people out there who can support you, and feel free to reach out to me as well. This is my work. Otherwise, I wish you much support. I hope that there was some validation that you received in this video, that if you are struggling and you have done spiritual work and you are struggling consciously or unconsciously, right? Spiritual work, or you've had spiritual openings and you are struggling and you've gone to different things, don't give up. Keep looking. Okay? It's gonna happen. It can happen because of wounds and issues, or the things come up. If our soul has been so called on taking care of a loved one that we've come into a purpose and they pass, we're hit with our own stuff, but also everything we picked up from their ego structure while we were taking care of them. We weren't just in the love. We're also, so it's complicated. That's what I want to say. And so the people that I work with are the ones that want to come back to their real selves, They don't want to add more structures on top. They are like struggling, and they realize, I need help coming back to myself. That's why I went to the spiritual path in the first place, consciously or unconsciously. All right.